Welcome to Focus on Education. I'm Keith Fillauer, Chairman of the Oak Ridge Board of Education. And throughout the remaining portion of our school year, each school board member will be hosting Focus on Education and be bringing you a guest so you can learn more about the Oak Ridge School District and our community. It is our honor tonight to have as our guest, my guest tonight, Mayor of the City of Oak Ridge, Mayor Warren Gooch. Mayor, welcome and thank you for coming.
Well, Keith, it's great to be here. I've always looked forward to coming to Oak Ridge High School, so tonight is no exception.
Well, we're going to, in the next 30 minutes, try to cover everything imaginable as we can.
Okay.
So let's just start off.
So the answers will only be as good as the questions
are. The answers will only be, and this first one will be easy. Tell us a little bit about your background, your interest in the community, and how you found yourself becoming mayor of Oak Ridge.
Well,
and mention your family.
My wife Judy and my two sons Ryan and Matt, and I moved here in August of 1993. I was asked to come here and represent the Methodist Medical Center as outside legal counsel at the time. And the CEO of the hospital had a binding rule. If you were going to do work for Methodist Hospital, you had to live in the community. So Kramer Racing, my law firm that I've been associated with for 40 years, opened an Oak Ridge office in 1993. So I maintained offices here and in Knoxville, and we represented the hospital for a number of years. I am a healthcare lawyer, and that's where my practice is focused. So we've been here since 1993. Both Ryan and Matt graduated from Oak Ridge High School. They're very proud of their association and with this city and being graduates of Oak Ridge High School. So Judy and I have been active in the community in many capacities since 1993. So there came a point where I thought, well, it's time for me to run for office. A number of people had asked me to do it. So 4 years ago, I ran for city council. I was elected by the people of Oak Ridge citywide, and then my colleagues on city council elected me as mayor. So I was reelected mayor 2 years ago, so I'm entering my fourth year as mayor of the city.
And I won't put you on the spot,
okay.
But November 2018, right. You'll be up for re-election. Any announcements you'd like to make?
I will be running for re-election to the Oak Ridge City Council.
Great, that's good to hear. We're going to talk both about community things and school things. I was here a little bit earlier than you were. I came in 1968, had the opportunity to have both of your sons as I was in my teaching career. Oak Ridge is blossoming. There are a lot of great things going on in Oak Ridge right now, and more to come. Tell us about some of the real good things that are happening in Oak Ridge today.
Well, let's start with one of the latest announcements, and that was the Oak Ridge school system and Oak Ridge High School being certified as a STEM education system from K through 12. That is just an outstanding accomplishment for our school system and for our city. We're the only school system in the state that's STEM certified from top to bottom, one of the few in the world, quite frankly, and in terms of a high school, a comprehensive certification, again, for the entire high school. So that's one great thing, and that helps us in terms of maintaining the city's reputation and commitment to excellence in what we do. I've often said that public education, the commitment to excellence starts every day in Oak Ridge, and from whether it's in the high school or whether it's in the middle or elementary schools or our pre-K, we have excellence in education and we focus on that. So we're very proud of our school system. We spend a tremendous amount of resources. And so when we do that, there's anticipation that the students will do well, the teachers and the staff and the administration will work hard, and this is just an example of the return that the citizens of Oak Ridge are getting on their investment in public education for the last 75 years. We've just finished our first holiday Christmas season, shopping season from Main Street, based on the anecdotal evidence that I have, as well as the sales tax figures through October. It's been very successful. Main Street is really absolutely vital to the future of our city. It was a black hole for many years. We watched it deteriorate, and that had an impact not only on the convenience of the citizens in terms of where they could go shop, but more importantly on the tax revenue for the city. So whether it was property tax, whether it was sales tax, Main Street was absolutely critical in terms of the redevelopment of our center city. Now, the other thing that's important for all of our citizens to realize is Main Street, I believe, and I think the evidence is going to back this up, will be a magnet to draw customers back into Oak Ridge who won't just shop at Main Street. I mean, they'll buy their groceries here in Oak Ridge. They'll buy their cars. They'll go to our other outstanding retail merchants in this city. So that's very important. We're very proud. We're very proud of Main Street.
I noticed, just to interrupt you for a moment there, as I was doing some shopping over the holidays and after the holidays there, you know, curiosity gets me a little bit, and as I was driving around the parking lot looking at the license plates. Now I know with Anderson County and Knox County license plates could be people that live here. But
Roane County.
And Roane County. And there were a lot of other license plates there, even some from out of state, which made me think these are visitors. Maybe they've come in to visit a family that lives here or something, but a lot of, I'll call diversification in the shopping area, which is good for Oak Ridge.
For many years, Oak Ridge was the hub in about a 6-county area, not only for shopping, you know, but for healthcare. I mentioned healthcare earlier. And so I think what we're going to see as we go forward is the quality of the retail selections will be able to draw those customers back, the convenience here, so they don't have to drive and do business with our friends at Turkey Creek. And so I think that's very important, both in terms of the image of the city and also for the financial health of the city. So we've talked about education, we've talked about Main Street. This is the 75th anniversary year for our city. 75 years ago, people were walking around, you know, in a rural area. It's hard for people to think about that. In the mud, working in secret to build the facilities here for the federal government that helped us, our country, win World War II. So during our 75th anniversary year, we will be highlighting the many accomplishments of Oak Ridge over the years, but also in terms of where we're headed, you know, in the future. And going back to the certification, the STEM certification for the high school and for the school system, I mean, it is just so appropriate that happened during our 75th anniversary year. We're going to have events throughout 2018. We've had official events since September of 2017. And so our anniversary year really runs from September of 2017 through November of this year.
And so I know you as mayor are a part of this celebration.
The committee, yeah. I was able to put together the committee for the 75th anniversary. And so, I mean, that's going very well. So again, across the board in Oak Ridge, we're seeing new development, both commercial and residential. I think it's very important for our residents to understand that for the first time in many, many years, we have companies, residential development companies that are here at Oak Ridge. They are looking for the ability to build new housing, and certainly that's going to be one of our focuses, has been for this city council for the last 4 years, but certainly going forward to have new housing that is attractive and affordable and helps us draw a new generation of people to come to our city.
And I know I always like to mention, sometimes people tend to overlook this, but both members of City Council and members of the Board of Education, as we work together to promote not just the school system, but the community as a whole, we have people that are on both of these boards that are not in it because they get a big paycheck. And it's very easy for me to say that our love for the community, our hope that the community will be successful and grow is why we do this. And that on the education side, that we can provide that quality education and attract people here, and on the city side to provide Main Street, to provide opportunities for new housing, to provide the services that the citizens of Oak Ridge have that I think sometimes they take for granted what we have here in Oak Ridge. And just mention quickly, it's been a tough time for our public service individuals over the last few days.
Last 2 weeks, I mean, it's been very, very difficult. They've worked both in terms of breaks in the water lines, but also fires. Our police department has responded to emergencies outside the city of Oak Ridge that have been very appreciated by the surrounding communities. So yeah, we've got a really dedicated staff in terms of city employees and school personnel. And so, and going back to why we do this, we have to remember that, I truly believe we stand on the shoulders of the people who came, before us. And Oak Ridge has led the way in many areas. And I think we're leading again, and I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to do that with the relationships between the City Council and the Board of Education. And I'm told and I believe that the City of Oak Ridge now has the best relationship that it has ever had with the Anderson County Commission, and that's very important in multiple areas as we work together to try to recruit new investment and new people, not only into the Anderson County side of Oak Ridge, but the Roane County.
We're going to take a very short break, and we will be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Focus on Education. My guest today is Mayor Warren Gooch, and we've been talking about many items that are affecting the Oak Ridge School District and the City of Oak Ridge, and I'm happy to say all of them very positive items at this point in time. And we're going to move forward, and if you're paying attention to what's going on in the Main Street area, you begin to see some new construction on the museum side.
That's right. And so this past week, the construction started on the new space for the American Museum of Science and Energy, and we hope that will be completed in May or early June. And that's very important as we transition from the older facility to the new AMSI space. And of course, the cities work very closely with the Department of Energy as well as Realty Link, which is the developer of Main Street. And so I think based on what I've seen, what I know, I think people are going to be very pleased with the the new state-of-the-art space and exhibits that will be going in the American Museum of Science and Energy, which again is an iconic facility. You don't talk about Oak Ridge without talking about the museum, right. And so that's going to be very, very exciting when it opens in late spring. Of course, right next door to it, we have the new Marriott branded hotel. And so again, whether you're talking about Main Street, whether you're talking about up and down Illinois Avenue, other parts of the city, we've got new development, both retail, commercial, and residential, and that's what we really need as we're going forward.
And it's all a part of the puzzle that come and stay, visit the museum,
right.
Shop, get something to eat.
That's right.
And that's what we want to happen in Oak Ridge. And that's been, that we both, I think, would agree that has been missing.
Yes, that's right. And it's put a huge financial challenge, on the city. So, as we sit here today, we're finalizing the plans. I think we'll be going to get requests for proposals on the new pre-K school in Scarborough, the senior center at the Civic Center, and the renovations and revitalization of Blankenship Field, which is going to be very exciting, and that's going to be completed by the time we have graduation, May the 31st or June the 1st, right. but the first event on the new Blankenship Field, the turf, is going to be the graduation in 2018. So having said that, that funnels back or relates back to why it's so important for us to enhance or increase the amount of tax revenue that's generated from retail sales. But we're very, very excited about the pre-K. We made a commitment to Anderson County, the Head Start, pre-K, that we needed to do a new building. It was clearly time for us to do something. Not because the children weren't getting a good education. They're getting excellent instruction, but to upgrade the facilities. Same thing for the senior center. Senior center has been promised, for 20 years, and for whatever reason, it never got done. So, I'm proud of the fact that this city council has, and the school board has tackled these issues, and we've come up with a way to do these projects. We've got more to do on the city side, clearly, but promises made and promises kept, and I think that goes a long way in terms of making people feel like they have a commitment and an investment, in the city of Oak Ridge.
And I'm sure people do with you as well. Somebody wants to have a conversation, and a lot of times they start the conversation, well, how is the Board of Education and City Council getting along? And my answer has always been, well, we're getting along just fine. I said, we all have the same goal. We depend as an education facility on a large portion of funding from city. If the sales tax is not increasing, that funding becomes difficult, just like it does right. To build a senior center or whatever we might be doing.
There's always competition for capital dollars, for
yes.
tax dollars. And if you check, the numbers in terms of the school systems, the public school systems in East Tennessee, the funding for the Oak Ridge Public Schools that comes from local sources is one of the highest in the state.
And we can go back and follow the funding from the city of Oak Ridge And if we want to compare it across the state of Tennessee, there is no better community that supports public education than the city of Oak Ridge does.
That's correct.
And have always done that. Always done that. But you know, I think people want to hear, well, can we get a tidbit that things aren't going real well with the Board of Education? And I said, we might not always agree, but when the time comes and a decision is made, we're all going to support it. We're going to move ahead, and we're all going to support it.
Well, and that was, again, going back to my election to City Council 4 years ago, and the members of City Council that were elected that year. We made it clear as a group that we were going to work very closely with the Board of Education, and we have. And I mean, I'm very proud of that fact. I mean, Mark Watson, our city manager, Dr. Borchers, the superintendent, meet on a regular basis.
Right.
We have meetings between the school board and city council, and we continue to do that. So for a while, those channels of communication were not as good as they needed to be.
Right.
But that was changed in 2014, and I think the city is the better and the stronger for it because we're all moving in the same direction.
And I would add to that something you said earlier. I would certainly tie in the relationship with Anderson County and Roane County.
There's no question about it. And people say, well, what difference does it make? We live in the city. Well, because when you're out competing for new companies, when you're out competing for new residents, there are no secrets. They go on the internet. If they see that there's some controversy,
right,
that impacts their decisions in terms of where they're going to live, where they're going to go. And we have to work very closely, for instance, in terms of retail development. See, Main Street was made possible because of tax increment financing. Well, tax increment financing has to be approved not only by the city, but the county. And so we work very closely together. Our relationship, again, with Ron Woody, who is the county executive, he's an executive in Roane County. We have a county mayor here. But in the commissioners in Roane County, and working together, for example, on legislative issues. And we go together with the leadership. We have the Lieutenant Governor, Randy McNally, who lives here in Oak Ridge. We have Ken Yeager, who's the state senator that represents Roane County. John Reagan and State Representative Kent Calfee from Roane County. We meet together as a group on a regular basis. That helps Roane and Anderson counties promote themselves and get the legislation that we need to enhance our citizens' lives.
And that is one of the things that the Board of Education and City Council are doing as we look at legislation to see what's going to impact the schools that then would also have an impact on the city.
That's correct.
And that makes a big difference because it takes us, it's not me sitting in John Reagan's office having a conversation, or then it's not you sitting in his office, it's us collectively having that conversation about the same thing.
That is correct. And it is a consistent message. And that makes it so much easier for our state elected officials to work with us when we've got the same incentives, when we're working together on projects. And then there's not disparate or disagreeing voices, and that makes it much easier for everybody.
Right. I appreciate your comments about the preschool. Let's go back there.
Yeah, let's go back to preschool
for a minute.
Right.
Do we feel like that we're on the timetable that is going to get us in that building, you think, by start of 2019?
I think so, and as a matter of fact, I think the City Council and Board of Education are going to have a work session very closely here in time, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, as far as I know, I think we're ready. We're ready to go. So,
and we obviously went through a very extensive process of trying to find a location,
right.
And then an extensive process of, once that location was found, to bring the community together and the people who live in the area where it's going to be together. And I think it's a win-win. It's going to be a beautiful building.
It will be a beautiful building.
And as you said, we didn't need the building because the students weren't getting what they needed. We just needed to put them in a place that was safe and better for them to be in.
That's right. And again, people need to understand that Oak Ridge, City of Oak Ridge, had the first pre-K program in the state of Tennessee. But they were, again, in a building. These children were in a building that was 60 years old. So again, it was time. I mean, I tell people Oak Ridge was built to last in 72 and 73. I mean, in 42 and 43, which is 75 years ago. And unfortunately, we're now at the point where we have an aging infrastructure in terms of particularly the water system, some of the buildings, and we have to work together in terms of moving forward, in terms of replacing things that need to be replaced or repaired. And we got a 75-year-old water plant, and we need to and we are working on it. The city's working on the plans to replace it, and working very closely with DOE, because DOE takes 50% of the water that comes out of the water plant, and the City of Oak Ridge uses the other 50%. It was originally a DOE plant. Again, it was built in 42, 43. So just another example of the issues that we're dealing with.
Well, we want to have a school district that we all can be proud of, that will attract people to come and live in this community. We want to have the shopping, the restaurants, the housing that will attract people here. We want those people who have been here for many years to continue to be proud of their community. And we want people who are thinking about moving to really take a hard look and say, Oak Ridge is my community, and that's where I would like to live.
We are blessed with the beauty of this area. God has blessed us. And whether it is the mountains, whether it is the Melton Lake, the rowing venue, we've got a world-class rowing venue, and the NCAA rowing championships are coming here in 2020. So we're going to continue to work on developing the rowing venue up and down Melton Lake Drive. I would say this, we have beautiful vistas in this city, and I want to encourage people to come to the public meeting that the National Nuclear Security Agency is going to have on January the 24th in terms of the transmission lines coming into UPF, the new transmission lines. That meeting is going to be held at the Scarborough Community Center on the 24th from 4 o'clock, I think, through 7 o'clock. It will give everybody an opportunity to find out what the plans are, what options might be available, because we need to protect the physical beauty of our city also.
Absolutely. We're being told, Mayor, that we're out of time. Any last comments that you'd like to make before we sign off?
Well, it's just it's an honor for me to serve as the mayor of Oak Ridge and to work with a great city council, city staff, and to work with you, my friend, and members of the school board, and the staff and administration and teachers in our school system.
Thank you. And this has been Focus on Education. I'm Keith Fillauer. My guest has been the Mayor of the City of Oak Ridge, Warren Gooch. And next month, another member of the Board of Education will return with Focus on Education. Thank you for watching.